Hello and welcome back or welcome to the channel. I'm Loudguns and today we're going to be doing a quick walkthrough of the new Vanduul Tech Smuggler missions in Starset 4.4. We're going to be seeing some new materials, Vanduul Metal and Vanduul Plating in Wikelo recipes this coming patch, and this is where you're going to get those. And it's also a great way to rack up credits and loot, including cool new armor and grade A components for sizes 1 to 3. Two big disclaimers right out of the gate. First up is your official spoiler warning. These missions are cool to play through, and if you're into the story elements of the game, then maybe give this one a miss, and wait for the patch to drop or try it out yourselves in the PTU. Second, this is obviously a very new mission still, and while we did our best to figure out the various elements of it, it's unlikely to be perfection at this stage. I am, however, hoping that this gives you all the right ideas and helps you out if you get stuck a bit. If this sounds good to you, grab a cup of tea while I roll the intro, then let's get into it. Before we can get into the Vanduul Tech Smuggler missions at the new OV logistics hubs, you'll need to build up sufficient reputation with Intersect Defense Solutions, a new military contractor operating in the Nix system. The mission will unlock fairly early at junior contractor rank, but to get there you'll need to take some missions with Intersect first, so I'd recommend grinding out the Neutralize Terrorist missions from the Merc tab, and these are roughly equivalent to a HRT and should have you over the line in around 10 to 15. Once you cross the threshold, you'll see this mission appear in the Investigation tab of your Contract Manager, so you can go ahead and take that from there. These missions are around 10% ship combat and 90% FPS. I would stress that based on the types of ships you see, you should be fine in a heavy fighter or gunship, particularly if you're running in a 2 to 3 person team. However, this is PTU, and while I would stress that things have gotten way better in the last week, there is still a bit to be desired. And with the random lag and desync, the nimble Vanduul fighters just seem to be jumping around and teleporting all over the shop, which was just a little bit frustrating trying to get through. So that is the main reason that for the main run we ended up resorting to an Idris. Regarding your personal gear, make sure to bring your favourite long weapon. I chose the Pulverizer since it generally slaps and there are plenty of enemies who are using it, so there's plenty of ammo around. Heavy armour would definitely be my go-to, allowing you to tank some hits, and the usual complement of medgun, medpens, tractor beams, and spare magazines. Now it's not essential because you can loot them around the station, but for maximum efficiency I would definitely recommend you bring another multi-tool with the Cambio's salvage tool attachment. Also bring yourself a full canister of RMC if you can. This will just be needed for one of the later stages, but like I say, you can loot it, I'd just bring it for a speed run. Difficulty wise, I think this is 100% soloable, but as ever with SC, I think it's just better with a squad. And given the possibility for glitchy NPCs to down you, it is always good to have buddies to back you up. If you're looking for people to crew with, please do feel free to swing by our Discord, links down in the video description below. The mission is going to take you to an OV logistics station, which has been taken over by a mysterious faction of smugglers. This mission follows on narratively from the ASD Onyx facilities as you track down the source of the Vanduul tech that the ASD scientists were messing with. When you turn up, the first thing to do is clear out the 4 Vanduul enemies. They're going to be flying a mix of blades, scythes and glaives, so nothing too punchy here. With these guys out of the way, you'll be able to call for landing and pop down in a hangar at the station. Keep in mind that the hangars are only medium here, so you won't be able to land anything bigger inside. However, if you look under the station and look for where the wrecked Polaris is docked, next to that you'll find a functioning pad with an elevator to the inside. If you're flying something bigger, you can always park it out here. Much like the Onyx facilities, there are probably hundreds of these spread across the Nix system in the Glacium Belt, so your chances of someone else coming along are very low. It's not instancing yet, but it's a really good way to just reduce the chances of a PvE mission becoming a PvP one. It's worth noting that once you're in the hangar, you can always put your current ship away and pull a different one out. Unlike at the Onyx facilities, if you get incapped here, you aren't going to respawn within the station itself. You'll end up getting sent back to wherever you've set your spawn location, which can be quite a distance away. So it might make sense if you've got one to bring up a medical ship, something like the Cutlass Red, and just use that to set yourself a respawn in the station. You'll then just ping back to your ship in the hangar if you get knocked. Whether you land in the hangar or at the pad, you can take the elevator to the entrance and make your way into the station interior. And when you hit the top of the stairs, you go to trigger an ambush. The doors lock down and you'll get a swarm of bad guys coming at you. Take them out and make your way up the stairs on the right hand side, turning back on yourself right at the top and fighting your way back along the balcony. At the end of this, you'll find the maintenance area. You will make your way inside, where you'll find a lever that you can throw to deactivate the lockdown. And then you can head back down to the ground floor, where you'll now find that the security office is open, and there are usually quite a lot of bad guys in here, so just do some careful peeking, take it slowly, and take them out. But amongst them is going to be a lieutenant, wearing a Vanduul skull mask helmet. You just want to interact with him to download his data packet, and then you can loot his body to take his decryption keycard. Interact with the terminal that's next to him, and when prompted, insert the keycard in the slot. Then you can select Decrypt. So this is essentially 1/5 of the data that you're after. To get the lot, you'll need to hunt down the other 4 lieutenants in the 4 areas of the site. And each will allow you to upload a portion of data and provide a decryption key to decode it back at this security terminal in the main atrium. Keep in mind that you don't have to decrypt after each segment. You can run all 4 of the other stages and gather all of the data packets, then come back here just once for maximum efficiency to decrypt. But while you're here at the security office, do take a look around for a comp board that looks like this. You're going to use this to make yourself a key to the warehouse. So in the security office, you'll find the first of 3 servers. Just insert your comp board into the rack, let it have a think and eject, and then collect it again. You can see that this now reads 33%. And if we repeat it with 2 other servers around the other sites, we'll have a 100% comp board that we can use to unlock the warehouse. And spoiler alert, that's where you're going to find lots of good loot. Before heading off to tackle the other areas, keep in mind that there is a tier 1 medical bed in the clinic, and that's located on the upper floor across the other side from maintenance. You can't set your spawn here, but you can use it to heal any injuries that you've taken in the fight, and since you quite often traverse back through this main atrium, you can stop after any other segment as well. So first up we've got the cargo bays. Cargo Bay A and Cargo Bay B are accessed via elevators off the main atrium of the station. You just need to take the elevator to the deck, where you'll find a bunch of people to shoot your way through. Amongst these is going to be another lieutenant, so you just want to do the same thing you did with the first one. Interact with him to upload the data packet, and then go ahead and loot him. Just be careful of fresh spawns coming from behind you. They seem to be triggered by looting the LT. If you missed the warehouse comp board in the security office, or if it didn't spawn, just keep an eye out for them spawning here. They seem to spawn all over at the different sites. So these rooms also contain a decent bit of loot, including Vanduul cryopods, and in the orange boxes, the new Tetsudo armor set. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. You'll find each of the 4 pieces of the new armor in the 4 different areas of the mission. You can also find it in alternate colours to the main Turf War edition in some of the normal armor boxes, so be sure to check everything around if you're a bit of a loot goblin. Just note though that not all of the cryopods contain a Vanduul, and a number of them aren't interactable, they're just set dressing to make things look cool. We'll come back and take a look at what we can do with these towards the end of the vid. Conveniently though, you can send anything you find down the freight elevator, which can then be accessed at your hangar's freight elevator to make sure you can make off with all of your goodies. Each time you clear one of the cargo bays, you just want to take the elevator back to the main atrium to continue to the next section. The third area is the docked Polaris that we passed on the way in, so you can make your way over to it by taking the elevator back at the entrance to pad 3, from which you can then EVA across to the Polaris. Access the ship through the airlock on the right hand side, opposite to the one that's connected to the docking collar, and then prepare yourself for a great close quarter gunfight with the baddies on board. I've got to say, I really enjoyed this. We don't actually have too much in the way of shipboarding in Star Citizen, We've done a lot of it in sort of PvP practice, but it's really cool to have a mission which really draws on it from a PvE perspective. Now, we found the lieutenant in the hangar of the ship, but just be sure to explore if you want to maximise your loot potential. There's a number of the orange armour boxes on the bridge of the ship, and down in the cargo hold as well. In the hangar you're going to also find the second server rack, so equip your card and insert it, and then when it ejects you're going to be up to 66%. And it might well be worth checking even the engine room of the ship. Here we found a number of components. I don't think they're grade A, but they were certainly decent ones. Just be aware though that the gravity generator here seems to be malfunctioning, so if you get too close to that it's going to hurt you. And finally, the auxiliary station, or aux station as I'm going to say from now on for brevity, is probably the most challenging segment to my mind. It's about 12 kilometers away from the main station, so you're going to need to get back into your ship to travel across. And by this point, expect the Vanduul to come back and take another stab at you. Like I said earlier, I think if server performance has improved, these will just be enjoyable dogfights in a fighter or a gunship. But for now, we were just happy to trundle along safely in the Idris for this run. The entrance to the aux station is exactly the same as you'd find on the asteroid bases and exec hangars over in Pyro. But when you approach it, you'll get a prompt that you need a keycard. This will trigger details on your HUD of 3 rec sites potentially containing the keycard. And this is completely random, so if you've got squad mates, you can make short work of this by dividing and conquering. Keep in mind though that if you're flying something on the lighter side, you want to make sure that you take out the Duel before exiting. They have no problem stranding you out amongst the wreckage by destroying your ship behind you. One of the bodies amongst the wreckage is going to be another lieutenant with the skull mask. When you get close to him, a HUD marker will guide you just to confirm that you've got the right guy. So loot the keycard off his body and then head back to the aux station. You can get inside through the airlock and you want to turn up the music. This has honestly got to be one of the coolest things CIG have made so far in my opinion. Fight your way through the bad guys. Sadly the humans must have won just about because there's no Vanduul to FPS here. But be sure to check the Vanduul corpses for loot as you clear areas. These bodies are where you're going to find those new materials, the Vanduul plating and the Vanduul metal. You can also get your hands on some pretty sick knives. After you've cleared the first section though, you're going to find a broken pipe spitting out flames that's going to kill you if you try and duck under it. Take out your multi-tool with your cambio attachment and hold right mouse button to repair. When it's stopped jetting fire, you can move under it. If you didn't bring a cambio tool, you just want to make sure that as you go around the facility you check the blue boxes as you go. Some of them will contain the cambio attachment and full canisters. If for some reason you didn't even bring a multi-tool, first up, shame on you. You can access this side office with a fuse that you find in the bathroom on the wall, you know, where everyone keeps their fuses. And that seems to consistently have a multi-tool in it for those who forgot. Beyond the fire pipe, you're going to find the refinery, which you can just sweep of bad guys. And then you need to look around for this laptop. Keep in mind that it won't always spawn here in the cafeteria, we also found it in the bar on another run. So just make sure to have a good look around if you don't see it immediately. You interact with this, you'll be able to check the emails and one of them will contain details of a door pin code. With this in hand, head back to the foyer, where you can use this code to access the security office and reach the final lieutenant. This room is also where you'll find the third server rack to insert your warehouse key, so just go ahead and do that as well. And with all the data packets secured, head back to the main atrium and interact with the security console. Pop in one of your decryption keycards when prompted and hit decrypt to complete the mission and get your cut of the 1 million credit payout. After the first time you complete it, you'll get a bit of story dialogue, and the mission giver will explain that they want you to keep checking out more of these sites. In effect, enjoy, because the mission is fully replayable. And if you got your comp board to 100%, you can head back to the warehouse wing on your way out. Insert your completed comp board into the rack next to the door, and it will grant you access to the elevator. Down here there is an absolute ton of loot, with more Vanduul cryopods, really good ship components including even size 3 mil-spec A stuff, armour and guns. On our run, Space Johnny also found a pristine silver ingot, which I noticed now features in some Wikelo recipes. Send everything you can lay your grubby hands on down the elevator, and recover it at your hangar at the end. Now there could be other uses for these Vanduul cryopods that we just haven't come across yet, but one key one is a mission under the collection tab which will pay you a further 600k for every 5 cryopods that you deliver to the Nyx Castra jump gate. So alongside the mission payout, you could also realistically be looking at 2 if not 3 hand-ins for this, taking your total pay to between 2 and 3 million credits. And this sort of payout makes it a really good ratio for 2 or 3 friends. There's also a collection mission for the Vanduul metal and plate. I would hazard a guess that if you've got no use for it, it'll probably go up for more in player-to-player trades, particularly if it gets featured in more Wikelo recipes. So there we have it for the walkthrough. I honestly had so much fun making this vid. This is a really cool mission, and I would urge you to go and check it out as soon as it goes live. A massive thank you to my squad, Space Johnny, Camfoud, Keem and Riddell, for chaperoning me through and bearing with me while I wrapped my head around it all, especially those times I was being just a little bit too slow. But alongside the ASD Onyx facilities, this sort of content is just looking so good. I love how CIG have recycled existing assets like the Ruined Station CZ and the asteroid bases, but merged them together and created something entirely new with it. When I first took a look at Nyx, I think I spoke maybe a bit too soon as this mission hadn't been added to the PTU, and I thought it all felt quite bare. But this is definitely going to be something I come back to and grind regularly when the patch hits live next week. If you found the vid useful and think I've earned it, then I would massively appreciate if you dropped a like and please consider hitting subscribe if you enjoy the content. With all that said, just thanks for watching to the end, and I look forward to seeing you next time.